Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and I'm still Charlie Butler. Aren't I, Bobby?
You are.
I am. Okay, thank you.
I just got the DNA test back, and it's
it's still me.
Yes.
Huh? Okay. Also, joining us today is the president of the Butler DeArmond Real Estate Network and the Charlie Butler team, and that is Candace DeArmond. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning, Charlie.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. It's been a busy morning.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Have you sold something?
Well, I hope so. I'm waiting on someone to sign something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
We'll see.
You only told me about the problems when I walked in, so yeah.
Well, that's one of the problems. So I left it out.
Okay. And our sponsor, who is not here, thank goodness, he's such a pain. We're brought to you by Bossy Title, and the good folks at Bossy Title do such a tremendous job. When we sell a house, and Candace, I know, goes to Bossy a lot. Why do you go to Bossy Title?
Their communication is excellent. Anytime I've had a client that has had any kind of unique situations with, that have been tacked onto the house or they find something, Bossy always works really hard to get that cleared up and ensure that we've got a clean title that we're passing on. So,
well, and I think you were making the point too that there's a lot of title companies out there.
mm-hmm.
The simple stuff, any of them can do.
Right.
But Bossy shines when there's problems comes up.
Yes.
They've got staff attorney.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some really, really good closers.
Yeah.
And people behind the scenes that you and I rarely ever see either. We hear their voice, but we rarely see them.
Right. And they all work together to get the job done. They do it. And Jeff Bossy also. He gets in there and
Jeff said also, yeah.
Well, that's what he does. There's not a lot of times whenever you have the owner of a title company that is calling and trying to get things cleared up. And Jeff has
he does.
actually done that. Yeah.
And yes, he does. And they are ably assisted by Phil and Norm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Melissa McGuy, you're going to meet here in a little bit. Melissa, Norm, and Phil are French Bulldogs.
Oh, that's adorable.
And so you walk in, and Phil's a pup now. But Norm, for the last how many years? Few years.
Long time. Yeah. Uh-huh.
If he's there, he comes out and greets everybody.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, he sleeps in Jeff's office. They got a bed there for him where he can lay in the sun, and then the girl, you'll hear the closers and some of the girls argue with him. They'll say, "Look, you're not getting part of my lunch today. Okay, you're getting too fat." So yeah, it's a good place. But remember the good folks at Bossy Title. So, Candace, how's your week been?
Well, it's been a busy one. It's been a very busy one. So we've got a couple of package deals that are going on the market, and we've got several other package deals as well. But I've been working on those, and then I've just got some things with a listing that we've been trying to get closed for a while, and we're buttoning them all up, and hopefully we'll be closing by the end of the week.
And yes, these package deals are mainly for rental properties. Mm-hmm. For those investors that are interested. I think with these last ones, we got nine or 10?
There's 8. Mm-hmm. There's 8 properties.
There's 8, but does that count the 1 or 2 that are coming online?
The new packages that I'm working on now, mm-hmm. There are 2 packages with 4 apiece in them. So, and they're all.
But don't we have 8 already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have.
So we'll have 10 total.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When
you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now those other packages, the other 8 packages, there's more houses in those.
Right.
And they're larger packages, but for someone who wants to start out and just get, a handful of properties, these newer ones are a pretty good option, to get you started. And
yeah. And And we do have a package, and we get this call for people who just want Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a package that has only Section 8 properties in it.
Yep.
But Candace, how can people that are hearing this and are interested, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my cell phone at 812-455-6338, or they can call the team phone at 812-430-1708.
Way to go. You remembered
I got it.
Good job.
Yeah.
And also, we've got a special guest today, and you look like you had something else you wanted to say.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I'm done.
And I have not given you a hard time today.
No, you haven't. Let's just skip past that part, and we'll introduce Melissa.
And you know why I haven't given you a hard time, because of what I'm doing today.
Oh,
You would just you could give it right back to me.
I could, and I'm not going to.
Okay. Yeah, that's not really something to talk about.
It's really not.
No. But Melissa McIsaac's with us, and Melissa is, gosh, let's see if we can get all her titles in here. Melissa, tell them what all you're doing.
Well, I am still selling real estate in the city that I moved from. I moved from a suburb of St. Louis.
Right.
So I still have stuff going on there. In July, were you going to say something, Charlie?
Yeah, I was gonna brag on you a little bit.
Oh.
That you that you were in the, and this is in the St. Louis metro area,
Mm-hmm.
that you were in the top 30 realtors in that area in sales.
Yeah. It took me 3 years to get there.
That's not long.
It's not long. It was me and I had a buyer's agent and a transaction coordinator. And then right as it started getting really good, I switched things up and moved back to Indiana like an idiot.
No, I met Melissa. How many years ago has it been?
It was probably 21, 22
Yeah,
when
right,
we met.
right before, or COVID. It was probably going on
Yeah.
at the time. And Melissa's dad, Mark Daly, has been a very good client of the teams, and also a good supplier with Signs Now. So, but anyway, and a good friend. I've known Mark for years. But Mark introduced Melissa and I, hoping to get her to move back here. He just wanted to, I think he wanted to see his grandkids.
It was all about the grandbabies.
Yeah,
Charlie.
he said, Charlie, just do something with her. Get her to sell real estate. As long as I get the grandbabies.
And do you remember we had lunch at the Evansville Country Club?
Yes.
And he was like, Melissa, what's it going to take for you to move back here and sell real estate? And I was like, well, Charlie, you're going to have to sell me your brokerage. That's how. And you kindly said no. Thanks for that. And I said, sorry, Dad, that's on Charlie. That's not on me. I said what I would do.
But yes, you were headed. I mean, you were already in top 30, but you were going to keep going up. I knew that. I knew that I could tell the drive that you had back then.
Well, I think I come by it honestly if you've ever met my dad.
I met your dad many times, and I've tried and done deals with him, but tried to do others. And he is your dad is is one of my favorite people, but he can be a hard man.
He can, yeah. Yeah, imagine being raised. I mean, people don't know this. Not a whole lot of people know this, but when my brother and I were younger, from the ages of 9 years old to 16, my dad had us say 4 different poems on success every morning on the way to school. And we took turns and we rotated. And so there wasn't really an option for my brother and I to not be successful. He was kind of laying that groundwork back then. That's
neat. 4 different poems on success.
Yeah.
So did you have to look them up?
Well, I had to look them up. I was 9 years old. I had to use a dictionary because I didn't know what tenacity meant and other words like so I had to look up those words. We talked about it. He explained it. And then eventually we memorized it because we had said it so much. And so we would just rotate. 2 people would say 1 person would say 2, and we'd just flip flop every week and just said it every morning. And I still think of those poems. I'm not going to say it now, but I still have them rolling around in my head.
That's neat. That really is. And that sounds like your dad, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I get my love for negotiating from my dad as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you do. I think. I mean, he's as I've told you. I met him in the Carousel restaurant. I had breakfast there every morning, every Monday through Friday, with a group of investors. And there was that guy for a couple days. He was sitting over there by himself. And one of the guys, I don't remember if it's Dave Herman or not, but it doesn't. I know he and Dave became very close, but invited him to come over. And he came over, and he said, I've been going from coffee shop to coffee shop trying to find a group. Well, he had sold his
Candy business?
Yeah, his candy business. And he was retired in his 40s, but he was bored,
Yeah, he drove us all crazy. We were like, please start buying businesses again. And he ended up buying 2 in the same week.
Yeah. And he's called me. He said, anytime you can find more. He said, I want more.
Yeah.
And we went and looked at a lot. But he, like I said, he studied the numbers so quickly. I mean, it's impressive, to watch him. But he knew right away when he saw the numbers whether it was going to work or not.
Yeah. So fast forwarding a little bit, last year, my family and I decided to move back to Indiana, and for me to work for my dad, learn from my dad, and eventually take over all the companies that he owns right now. And then we are for the next 3 to 5 years until he does retire. And I say retire in air quotes because I don't see that man ever fully retiring.
No.
He'll come in, I'm sure, once he's retired and say like, let's talk about your P&L. So, but one of my favorite things is learning from him now. He will throw a P&L down in front of me, and I tell him that he's Mr. Miyagiing me because he's like, tell me what's wrong with this P&L. What's wrong? And I just have to look at it, and it takes me a minute, but I'm learning. I'm getting better.
That's good. That's good. He and I looked at and he really wanted it, a pawn shop in Henderson. And it was right off the highway there. They're closed down. The owner was not in good health. And he went in there, and he went over there with the intention, if they could put something together, they're buying it, and the guy just wouldn't budge. And your dad, even though you could tell he really wanted it, he stayed disciplined, and he said, it's not worth that. It's just not.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning that the key is buying right. You don't want to get yourself in a bad deal.
Well, it's just like in real estate investing, especially.
Sure.
If you buy wrong, as you know from your experience, if you buy wrong, it's pretty well impossible to make that up.
Yeah.
You say, well, I'll sell and I'll be okay. Well, probably not, if you bought wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you miss real estate, don't you?
I do. I mean, I'm still dabbling in it. I had I have somebody there that's running my business now. So she told me this morning we have a client that wants to go see a very nice home. So that's exciting. So I'm still getting residual income there. And then I had another agent yesterday reach out and say, I've got a listing for you. And I just have to refer it out because I'm not really taking any more listings. I am going to go through the summer with what I have already and sign listing agreements. But apart from that, I'm always keeping my ear on the ground here in Evansville. And because one thing that has been interesting is how different it is real estate in Evansville as opposed to a bigger area like St. Louis. And I'm just looking at average home prices and how many days on the market. And, I like eat, live, and breathe it. So I just want to know all about it. But I have definitely seen some differences. I mean, I feel like the home prices here are pretty strong.
They've went up a lot. You say since COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since COVID, they've went up. But we're starting to even out, But I don't think they're going down.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, we've got those. We were talking about Dave Herman earlier. One of his favorite places always to buy was in North Park. There's little three bedroom, 1 bath homes. They're usually about 975 square feet. Some of them got additions on them. Dave could buy those, whether it be foreclosures, someone needing to sell not just Dave but others, 30 to 40,000 range. This is before, a few years ago, and turn around in those size homes. You don't have a lot to do usually.
Yeah.
So you can turn around. We were selling for $79,900, and I can remember when Dave wanted to go up. He said, "We're going to try $94,900 on one." I said, "Dave, you're crazy. It won't sell." Of course, it did. Dave, he's always right. And but today, since COVID, those same homes sell for $179,000, and investors now pay $100,000 to $110,000 for those.
Wow. So
it just showed you. Newburgh is probably, I'd say Newburgh has had the strongest gain, wouldn't you, Candace?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, Newburgh's probably up there with, and I'm seeing other parts of Warwick County, Chandler and Boonville, where years ago that was not, the home prices were not strong in Chandler and Boonville, and they have really went up quite a bit. I'm searching with a lady right now that needs something in Boonville because she wants to stay in that school system. And we're really having a hard time finding her anything. And used to,
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, you could find something under $100,000 all day long. And it's difficult to do now.
Why do you think that is?
As far as just Boonville and Warwick County, I think that they're building up more. Newburgh, I think, has built out so much that it's went into other parts of Warwick County. And I think people they like living in the county, So that's really what I can, give as far as why that's grown. But, yeah, it's...
And one of the things, just to piggyback on that, Candace, is I know the people in Boonville have wanted someone to do a subdivision there for years. Well, we've got one that the first home, we just listed the first home. It's called Poulton Place, Poulton, in Boonville. Rhinebeck Homes and Value Build Homes are doing that. We're probably going to see an average home price, depending on what you want, but what they're putting in there now is about $249,000. And it's about, I think it's 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath,
Yep.
2-car garage.
Yes.
So nice home. If you folks remember us, the ones we did in Chandler, yeah, pretty well the same home.
Yeah. Very similar to those that were in Chandler.
And we did a few in Evansville. Finding lots was difficult, but we did do a few in Evansville. And they also have a subdivision that us and Dolby Real Estate on both of these subdivisions are going to be pretty well exclusive on Boonville. And then there's one on the north side, which is going to be called Willow. It's also Rhinebeck Homes and Value Build Homes. And it will be, they're going to do that starter home, but they're also going to do some more upscale homes too. So there's a subdivision right beside it, probably basically $700,000 homes.
Wow.
And so it's so they can piggyback a little bit off that. So anyway, but for those, we keep talking. We're talking about your dad, like everybody knows who he is. We're talking about Mark Daly for those who don't know, and let's talk a little bit about your business. Okay, you're coming in over the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to buy your dad out.
Yep.
Okay. And for those that don't know, today at least, who knows what you guys will buy in the meantime, what businesses are those?
So we own Signs Now.
Mm-hmm.
We own Connor Lock. Advantage Print Solutions, 2 pawn shops called Pawns of Cash, one on Winebuck, one on Diamond. And then we purchased Lasting Order, which is a professional organizing company, in November. So that's the most recent one. And then we're evaluating a handful of other businesses right now. Yeah.
So you want to, Lasting Order, people, I think some of the others people may be familiar with.
Sure.
You know, Signs Now, of course, we use a lot of realtors, I know, use them. And other people, I mean, you can do signs for pretty well anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but Lasting Order, I admit I was not familiar with it. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Lasting Order specializes in professional organizing services. We really love to help those who have chronic disorganization. There's a lot of people in this area who are essentially pre-hoarders. I mean, they might not be there, but they're well on their way. Yeah. And one thing that our organizers love to do is to come into a home where potentially, I mean, we've had clients recently who haven't had family members in their home for 4 years just because of the shame. They haven't seen their countertops in years. There's nowhere to sit. Things are just filling up. And it's gotten out of control where they really don't know how to move forward. So we come in there, we help them make decisions on what to get rid of and what to keep, and then we organize the like items. And what we hear almost every time somebody calls us, the number one thing we hear is, I feel overwhelmed. And can you, I'm nervous for you to come look at my space. Have you ever seen anything this bad? And if you knew people, I've seen terrible things, and there's never been anything we haven't been able to handle. We worked on a pole barn in Newburgh last Friday. This thing was crazy messy. And I was like, there's no way we're getting this done in 8 hours. We actually got it done in 6 hours, and it looked so beautiful. When I walked in at the beginning of the day, I couldn't even walk in a straight line to talk to the lead organizer. And by the end of the day, she was sending me pictures, and everything had a home. Things had been discarded that they no longer wanted to keep. It was incredible. So we love helping those who have chronic disorganization, don't know how to move forward. We love helping seniors who are moving in from a 4,000 square foot house to a 2,000 square foot home. And they just can't take everything with them. They have 40 years of memories and belongings and so much nostalgia tied up in those possessions that they don't quite know how to let go of them. And so all of our organizers, I think a lot of people think that anybody can be an organizer, and that's not necessarily true. I mean, people that are cleaners are like, yeah, I can come organize a closet. But really, we have 7 organizers on our team. And they do continuous training and education to be able to know how to step into homes and help people on a very psychological level learn how to let go of things. So we don't just come in and say, well, you don't need, and unfortunately, this is a true story, you do not need 40 toilet covers that are,
Oh.
Yeah. We don't do that. We talk through it, and we help them break down if they really need it or not, and how this really serves them, and do they even have the ability to remember to switch it out every holiday, So it's pretty incredible what our organizers can do. Our organizers are never going to be like, you don't need this, just throw it away. Every client we've ever had says that they are incredibly empathetic and gentle and kind, incredibly efficient. And then the last thing we hear a lot is confidential. A lot of what we do, people don't want the world knowing that they've got a lot of stuff, so we have to be very tight-lipped with everything. So, and then the third thing we really specialize in is moving. And so we can pack up your home, we can unpack your home. We work with a lot of agents, and what we do for agents, and that's probably because of me, because I, as an agent, wish I had organizers to come into a home and declutter. And so, when I was a listing agent, I was you had to have your front door perfect if I listed your home. So I wanted the front door painted. I wanted a new floor mat. I wanted flowers on each side of the door if it was spring and summer, and I wanted a nice wreath. And why I did that is because I believe that buyers spend a majority of their time at that front door whenever the agent is unlocking it to go into the home. And studies have shown that buyers make a decision in the first 7 to 10 seconds if this house is a contender for them. And so I really wanted to set the pace of, do you think that let's make a really good first impression so that we can get this deal done. So that was one thing, is we love to help agents declutter so that their houses get sold faster and for more money, which results in a bigger commission check for them. And then my other favorite study, there was a study done by HomeLight, and they said that homes that are organized and decluttered have a perceived value of $4,000 more than homes that are not organized. And so we love to come in and help you put your best foot forward. And I tell agents this illustration is when you go to the doctor, Charlie, who gives you a shot, the nurse or the doctor?
The nurse.
The nurse. The doctor comes in, he shakes your hand, he tells you what's wrong, he writes your script, and then he's out of there. Then you have the nurse come in, and she gives you the shot. And she's kind of equated as the bad guy. We want to be the nurse in your real estate transaction. We know that agents' jobs are so hard. You have to navigate inspections. You have to get this to the finish line. So we want to come in and say, hey, Mr. Seller, we know you love that ugly recliner, but it's not going to make those listing photos pop. So why don't we just go on ahead and move it to the basement, and then we'll get these pictures done, and you can do whatever you want with the recliner. So we want to go into a home and tell them to make decluttering changes so that it can be a better outcome for you as the agent.
That is, as an agent who has these conversations with sellers, that's huge, because a lot of times it's very difficult to tell a seller that, like, there's too much stuff in here, especially whenever you walk in and they say, oh, I've been cleaning for 2 weeks, getting things ready. And it's like, no, we need more out. And it's hard as an agent being in that situation to say, I know you've done a lot, but this is not enough, So that's really interesting.
Well, I like what you said about I know you stage our listings.
I and whenever she said the doormat
and the wreath and things.
Is that what you do too?
I absolutely. Now, I don't always do wreaths because some people don't want wreaths on their doors, or some people already have things, but there's always a doormat, and if I can put flowers out, I'll put flowers out too, because I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, that falls in the first 7 to 10 seconds,
right?
As you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Bobby, so we got 2 minutes left, or less than 2 minutes now, and I lost my train of thought. Pick me up, Candace.
Well, I just, as she was saying that, that's very interesting. I didn't even know that we had a company around here like that. So I'd be interested in getting some more information on that.
Well, I would love to give you more. We also are a full moving concierge, so we can set up your utilities, we can create floor plans for you, we can pack you, unpack you. And then one thing we love to do is once you get into that new home, create systems so that you are set up for success in this new place.
Well, very interesting. Yeah.
So, Melissa, I mean, I know you're wearing various hats right now. Bobby is telling me we got a minute left, but Melissa's coming back with us next week because we got a lot more to talk about. But how can they best get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can reach out to us at lastingorder.net. We have intake forms. You can tell us a little bit about the projects that you have that you're wanting to accomplish. And then we also, you can reach us at 812-858-2457. You can call or text that number.
And then Signs Now, Connor Lock, and
Honda Cash.
Well, I'm thinking the ones that are on Weinbach. I was trying
yeah, Advantage Print Solutions.
Which you have one Honda Cash on Weinbach.
Yeah.
And one on Diamond.
Yep.
And, of course, I sold your dad the building where the Print Solutions. I know, Bobby. I got stories to tell, Bobby.
Wrap it up. We'll talk about it next week.
Candace, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach me on my cell phone at 812-455-6338, or they can reach me on the team phone at 812-430-1708.
And Charlie Butler, if we can't sell your home, we'll buy it. We'll have you an offer at least for it in 48 hours. And you can reach me to talk about that at 812-499-7758. So for Candace DeArmond, Melissa Macisaak, this is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team. This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.